Eastern Rockslide task in Harbor, Quebec. Hello there everybody and welcome to another exciting episode of SnowRunner here at Opafet Gaming. You're listening to the Opafet. Today we are driving our Avenhorn A15 and we're at a warehouse that's located just below the community of Tidal on the map of Harbor in Quebec. And we're at the bottom left-hand corner of the map, so almost right in the corner on the west side of the map. We had to come all the way over here because we had to pick up a pallet of consumables, and dispatch had got a hold of me, and they needed it right away. Now it was nighttime here, and they said, that's okay, just get in the truck, get over there, and pick it up and bring it over to the Sawmill. And you should be there hopefully by sunup, where we're going to have to go and pick up a bundle of wooden planks and then deliver to the Eastern Rockslide. But in the meantime, we're here on the other side of Everton. As you can see the lights of the city. And we're either going to get to see a few of the northern lights up in the sky. Looks absolutely awesome. Now, I don't normally drive at night, as you would probably know if you've been watching my videos. But this one came up and I thought, you know, we're going to give this a shot. There's two parts to this job here where we got to pick up the wooden planks and the consumables. And we'll do the first part in the dark. Now, I've driven this particular route from here to the Sawmill a few times. I've been across the ice here, back and forth a few times, and I'm pretty clear on where I'm going. However, the map looks completely different in the dark for some reason. I don't know why, but it looks a lot different. And I was kind of enjoying it, so I thought, you know, let's just leave it in the dark and let's just try and make it all the way over to the Sawmill in the dark and see what it's like. So that's what we're doing today. Now we've only just left the warehouse, so we got a little ways to go. But we're already at the very first ice crossing. Now, I don't know if it was because it was dark or because I wanted to take a different route, but I didn't take my normal route that I usually take when I go across the ice at this point. It is just a little ways down the road. And I kind of got stuck. Now, I spared you the time I was stuck in the ice and just kind of pulled myself out of it a little bit quicker. But like I said, the route, the road, everything, the track, the ice, everything looks so much different that I wasn't sure where I was going. Anyhow, we've come to our first ice crossing right here, and if you look straight ahead, not to the left there, but straight ahead by that single large pine with a couple of little ones, I usually would go to the left and in between, but this time I went around to the outside. I don't know why, and I probably shouldn't have done that because I saw myself sinking down and I thought, well, we could climb out of it, it doesn't look that bad. But I got stuck in there for a little while and ended up having to winch myself out, but I'll save you the pain and agony, as we will, through the magic of video editing, just kind of squeeze by that part. Now, it wasn't really that difficult, you know, but like I said, I don't know why I chose this other path, just because it was dark out. Anyhow, we got out of it. We got out of it okay. We weren't stuck in that long. Got another nice view of the city of Everton on the other side there. And we're gonna finally climb our way out of that icy hole there. We just coming around here. Oh boy, I tell you, this crossing was a little difficult this time, and it shouldn't have been that hard, but that's okay. We finally get through it. Yeah, right about now. It took a little while, but that's okay. We're finally out of it, and we're going to climb up the other side. And if you remember the route, we'll be stopping at the gas station in a few seconds here to fill up, because we do like to keep the tank topped up, because we got quite a ways to go yet. And every once in a while when you're climbing up the hill and you got a little bit better view of the sky, you can see that it's a clear blue sky up there. It's a starry night, and every once in a while you see the northern, you get a fairly good view of the northern lights. Of course, I've got to try and keep the camera down so I can see where I'm driving. There we go. And there's the fuel station of Everton. Now normally when we get fuel, right after we get fuel, we push the time ahead so that it's daylight and we can see where we're going. But not this time. This time we're going to do the whole trip without changing the time. Just see what kind of a different way of playing the game is. If you like this, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Maybe some of you might like the nighttime driving, and some of you might think that, you know, kind of like me, where you prefer to see the game in the light so you can see better. Everything offers its own pros and cons, I suppose. Now we're just going to drive through the city of Everton and then down on the northern part, I suppose, of the city. We're going to go forward and back off the road because we got to cross the lake there, because that part of the highway, I don't think that part of the highway can be fixed. I think it's broken down for good. Although I haven't come up across any jobs in any of the contracts that would suggest that that would be a fixable bridge. It's just a little ways down the road here. Not very far, and that's why we go over here, so we can climb down the hill, and then at the bottom of the hill we can cross the ice, and you have to climb back up the hill again on the other side. Yeah, you can't see the bridge there. That's okay. Now when you're going down this hill, if there's lots of light, you can see when your truck is tilting from left to right, so you can see where the bumps and stuff is. In the dark, it's a little bit harder. It's a little bit harder to see, even to see your truck tilting as much as it does or not. So, I guess just like real life, in the dark, drive a little slower. You got to take it a little bit easier, and you're already going slow during the day, so. But that's okay. Here's our next ice crossing. I think we're going to be a little bit better off on this one than the last one. This one's not too difficult. There we go. And here too, you got to kind of read the ice, and if you see a hole, obviously you fell through there once already, so don't go in that spot again, like over here. I've fallen through a couple of times there, it looks like. So let's try and spot beside it. It seemed to be a little bit firmer over there. Then we got that little snowy rocky island in the middle of it. And not too long ago, I finally tried a different route here. Because normally, when I drive through here, I always stay on the right-hand side by the broken chunks of ice. But lately I've tried going to the left of these rocks. As you can see, there's a hole over there. It didn't turn out too well once, but I did make it through there. However, I think that this way is the better way to go, to stay on this side of the rocks. It's a little bit more solid. You bounce a little bit, but you don't fall through the ice. Now there's that bridge that I was telling you about. It's all broken, and I do not think it'll ever get repaired. So that's one bridge you're going to have to avoid whenever you drive on the map of harbor in Quebec. Now once we get off the ice here, we're going to climb up on the hill just on the right hand side of that big pine straight in front of us. It's not really a road as more a angled piece of the hill that you can sort of climb up. There's just enough room here in places to get by. But boy, I tell you, when you put that Avenhorn in the high range of the low gear, he just chugs up the hill, chews up the mud and the snow, and there is not very much that I have seen that will stop him. He's a very capable truck, one of my best trucks in the fleet that I've got in the garage, and one I use quite often. Now we are going to be incorporating more of our fleet, and we're going to see if we can acquire some more trucks so we can have a little bit more of a variety of different vehicles that we use. Now just up the hill here, we're going to have to take a sharp left, and we are now about in the middle of the map, a little ways up from the water. As you can get a good look at the northern lights up there, boy, it looks just absolutely awesome. What a beautiful game. Okay, this is where we're going to take our left, and we're going to sneak by the garage and continue on until we get to the sawmill. Now, after we've picked up the wood pallets, the wood planks, a bundle of wood planks, I guess you call it. After we picked up that bundle, we got to come back down this exact same road that we're on right now. But I'll show you. The turnoff to the garage is right here. There's one opening, but there's a north entrance. And by the north entrance is also a road that goes down to ice level. When we come back from the sawmill, that's the road we need, because we got one more ice crossing to do before we can deliver our cargo. Now, as you can see, the up-pointing black arrow and the yellow diamond has appeared on the screen, meaning that the cargo that we have not yet picked up is now available in that location. Up arrow shows you where the cargo is, down arrow shows you where to deliver it. Another one of the large long bridges that we repaired earlier on in our time here, in one of our earlier videos. It sure is nice not having to take some of those hairy, pretty wild detours. A few of them were, well, I don't know if they were detours more as much as a goat trail, I think. Anyhow, as we're coming around the corner, it's starting to get lighter. We're starting to be able to see a little bit better. Now, I wasn't quite sure where the turnoff was for the sawmill on this side. I know where it is on the other side of the mountain, but on this side I wasn't quite sure, so I came and checked it out, and I left my slider Chimera here up ahead, pointing the way for us, just letting us know this is where you got to turn off the road and go four-wheeler, right over here. And it's the road's not bad. It's a little dicey around this corner here because it tilts so far to the side. And we're going to avoid this particular detour on the way back. We're just going to go on the highway because you're tilting quite a bit, and we're going to have a high pallet of cargo on the back there yet. So as you come up the hill here, you're just climbing right into the back end of the sawmill area. Now everybody is still at home. Nobody is here yet. Everything's still shut down. So they told me just come over and park your truck, catch a couple of Z's, and then when the sawmill opens up, we can jump back in the truck and get rolling again to do the final delivery. I'm going to in the meantime, I think we're just going to park it right back here. Right like that. Shut her down. And a few hours later, the sun's not up, but it is brighter out and we can see everything now. We can see everything we need to see. The sawmill's open. Let's go pick up that bundle of wooden planks and let's go and deliver it. The final leg of our delivery. There we go. Well, like I said, we're just gonna leave the sawmill through the main entrance, which is just over here, and that'll just put you right onto the highway. So it's a little bit longer to go around the mountain, but on the highway you can go a little bit faster. So it's 6 of one and half a dozen of another. Like I said, we got one more ice crossing to do, and after that one we should almost be where we need to be to deliver the cargo. This has been a little bit longer video than I normally put up, but I tell you, well worth the viewing time. Everything looks absolutely awesome. I'm so happy that all these bridges are finally done. They took a long time to do, and it's laying a lot of groundwork for later on in the game, but I tell you, I'm only, if I had to guess, about halfway through all the work that needs to be done in Harbor and Lake Riviere. So, having done this, the leg work, the pre-work to get all these bridges done as soon as I could, opened the map up so much that everything is much more, it's more easily accessible. That's what it is. And you drive all the little scary windy detours, and after a while you kind of want to drive on the highway for a little while. So here we are driving on the highway. We got a little bit of everything in this video. We got ice crossing, we got highway driving. There's the old Camaro. See, like I said, it doesn't take long to get around when you're on the highway. But we got ice crossing and we got some cross-country terrain through deep snow and some muddy areas. We got a little bit of everything in this video. Now, as we come around the corner, I believe we've still got that one more bridge to cross. And it's just on the other side of this bridge, not too far, a little bit across after this bridge, on the left-hand side, where we're going to be heading down. Because we're heading straight south towards the garage again, like I said earlier. But we want to get back to ice level. Now, I wonder why they leave those little dunce caps on the road here. Little pylons. I thought they would take those away once I repaired the bridge, but they didn't. Now here's where we're going to hang a left, and we're going to go down the hill, down towards the ice level. Like I said, a little bit of deep mud and some snow, but nothing that's managed to stop the Avenhorn A15 so far. He does all right through this kind of territory, I tell you. Well, there, like I do say though, I do mention that you gotta put it in the high range and low gear, because if you keep it in automatic, the Avenhorn continuously is trying to shift down and up and down and up, and it drives you crazy after a while. When you're on the highway and you got no lag on your tires, no drag or nothing, then you can keep it in automatic. But when you're laboring through deep snow, mud, or any kind of climbing, high range of the low gear is the only way to go. Now over here we got that little that little hill. The tracks go around that rock to the right, and I've never used that one. I don't think you could get around it on the other side. It's way too much of an angle. So we always just climb over the top here, just like that. Now I find too that whenever you're climbing on a little bit of a hill like that, you got a floor to get up there, but as soon as you get to the top, let off on the throttle. I'll explain to you in a little bit why. Now the arrows have come on the map that show you that the drop-off point is close by, which it is if you went there as the crow flies, but we can't. We gotta go south a little bit on the ice first before we can come across. But at least it goes to show you that we're going in the right direction, that we're close by. We're not too far away now. Now this ice level too, I've been over this ice a few times, and I always say, you know, you got to read the ice and see where the solid parts are. But and like I said, having been over this a few times, you would think that I would know the safest way to go. But for some reason, even when you take the same tracks, different things seem to keep happening. Now, not so much over here, because here it's fairly solid, right across. Most of it is fairly solid here. But we gotta take a left turn here, and there's a hole right in the middle there. Now you can either go on the left-hand side or the right-hand side, and I've been on both sides, not without too much trouble. But now this time we kind of sink into through the ice, and now this has never happened before, not quite this far. So I was hoping I was going to be able to climb out of that. Wow, just managed to come out of that. So like I said, you know, driving the same track 2 times in a row and you get different results. Now once we get over to this side here, just like there again, keep an eye on the ice, read the ice, and drive along. Now on the left-hand side here, we got to climb up one of these here banks, and I wasn't quite sure which one. So I was just driving along the side here and looking at the same time, and then I realized I overshot it. I want to get in right over here where that tiny little pine is. But by overshooting it and then backing up, burning your tires, I ended up placing my truck exactly where I wanted, perpendicular to the hill. And this is where I wanted to remind you, you gotta throttle, you gotta give it full power, but as you get to the top, just as you break the top, you gotta let up off the throttle, because otherwise you could go shooting over the end and into the water on the other side there. So just remember that when you get to the crest of the hill, let up on that throttle. I've gone shooting over top before. Made that mistake, but never again on that one. Now we just got a little ways to go, and if you're not quite sure, like right here, I wasn't quite sure how strong that ice would be. I figure, well, we'll just stay close to the hill where there's a decent amount of snow and hopefully some good traction. And that really helped out. So, and over here, you can get back into the ice there in the middle because it looks fairly solid over there, and it turned out to be really solid. So no real problems there. And we just got to do a little bit of four-wheeling here. Snake. We're going to be snaking through a little, I don't know what that is, a little mud track. We're going to be snaking through it from side to side. There again, you know, using a truck with a nice short frame makes it a little bit easier than if you had a really long truck, or if you were towing a trailer trying to get through here. That would have been a disaster for the Opafet for sure. So I'm glad we took the Avenhorn and we managed to get it up there. Now we're almost at the drop-off point. Boy, I tell you, I really enjoyed this. A little bit longer video than normal, but well worth the view. Really enjoyed this one. I hope you enjoyed the video too, and maybe got some tips and tricks out of it. I hope to see you back at Opafet Game again real soon. Until then, You've been driving in an Avenhorn A15 delivering cargo up to the Eastern Rockslide. Me as your driver, the Opafet.